Hi there. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Uh, we can start. We are running a bit late. I wanted to start this earlier, but technology was being technology. So we are starting a bit earlier than we planned, but the good thing is that we are starting, which is the most important part. And I only did this because I think the year is coming to an end. I thought one needs to address the issue of unemployment, particularly for people from the field of humanities. I thought I need to find a way to cater for you by focusing on job search related matters. You will see with the title. This live is actually entitled Job Search. It's actually a session one, and I mean the subtitle is Unemployment Must Fall. So I'm hoping to take you through certain key processes that can help you get employed quicker. I know we are actually now in October, which means we don't have much time actually. So, which means we might not be able to achieve as much as we want to. But I'm hoping that based on the feedback that we get, we can decide whether we want to take this further to continue with it post 2023. In other words, we take this further to 2024. So that's the plan, and that's the whole reason why we're having this live. It is to help you if you want to get a job, that we can speed up that particular process. I hope we'll be able to get as many people as possible employed, or at least some form of placement or some form of an experience that they can get. So just let me know on the comment section if you can hear me when I speak. I hope you can hear me. I see there's somebody viewing. Just let me know. I don't want to go on for about an hour only to find out that I could not be heard. So just give me a thumbs up or indication whether you are able to hear me. I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Please do indicate whether on the chat. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you can hear me. Thank you so much. Yeah, it took us some time at least to have started. Now, the first thing that I wanted to deal with, obviously, people come from different backgrounds in terms of qualification, but there is a lot that we can do in terms of catering for you, because at the end of the day, it's about you being employed. It's October now, and I know, I think from experience, if you don't get something by November, the latest, it might be a bit difficult to get any placement. Uh, uh, I mean, for this year. So obviously, what we want to achieve, we want to ensure that there is some form of placement at least for this particular year, at least by end of November, the latest. And if we don't get it, obviously we'll have to plan for January, because December, most of the companies are closed. So there's not going to be much happening during that time. So if you don't get an interview or any response in terms of the update of your work, at least by end of November, you are likely not to get anything by December. Hence, we only have November to cater for what we can be able to do and see how far we can go. So, what I have done on my side, and I'm taking this because the issue of unemployment, I'm not looking for a job in particular, but because I'm a career psychologist, I'm very much in touch with people who are looking for a job. And I take an effort to ensure that people get placed, and ensuring that people do get employment and get it quicker. So, what we do is that beyond just doing an assessment, we want to make sure that we empower people with all the tips that they need in order to be placed quicker. So, what I've done in the past year or two, I have dedicated time to do videos that speaks to employment. One of the video that I've done, and I hope that you can be able to check on the channel, check on the videos that we have done. I've done a video where I speak about how to search for various jobs in South Africa. Basically, I share about the different sites that you can actually use in order to search for a job. So check that out. I think you will see when you go to the channel, you can actually go to the playlist and look for area where it's written vacancies or employment, and you will see this video about various job search sites in South Africa. I speak about South Africa, but the good thing about it is that it also gives you information about how to search for jobs online. And then I also share about, there's a video I've done about job Flexijobs, where I share about how to search for jobs online. You'll be shocked at how many jobs are available just online. I did another one on how to put your profile on Indeed. Indeed is actually one of the most helpful site online where you can actually search for jobs. I also I did a video about how to check for jobs from the government, which I think government are the biggest employer at the moment. So you can also search that out. And the last one which I've done was how to search for jobs on LinkedIn. Now, I want to hinge a bit on that because I'm on LinkedIn. That if you are looking for a job and you're not on LinkedIn, I think you might be disadvantaged a bit. You need to make sure if you need a job, if you are searching for a job, the first place that you need to make sure your CV or your profile is the LinkedIn. Make sure that you are on LinkedIn and your profile is updated on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn will make it easy for you to apply for jobs, but also to search for jobs. Check the video where I speak about how to effectively use LinkedIn for job search. Already, those platforms are the most important platform that you can use, that I've done on my side to help you ensure that you get a job and get a job quicker. So make sure that you check those videos that I've referred to, because there's no way you can listen to all of them and not be able to get something. I was watching or reading a post on LinkedIn and I saw this lady. I don't know if it was a lady or a male, but I think it was a lady, and she was sharing how many times she has been rejected for a job. And I think she was rejected over, I don't know, 100 times or whatever. And somebody asked a very interesting question. He said, I see that you are applying for a jobs one after the other. I think this lady was actually applying, I mean, after 5 minutes, will be applying for a job. And the person asked, how do you do that? How do you manage to apply for maybe 3 or 5 jobs, in just seconds or minutes apart? And I thought that was a very important question, because when you apply for a job, there is a skill. I'm telling you, because I've been on the selection panel for people who apply for a job. And obviously, I've also applied for jobs. And I'm a very active person. If I apply for a job, you call me, you don't call me, I will call you and ask you why you did not call me. If you don't take me, I'll also call you to ask you why did you not take me, because I believe there must be a reason why you don't take me. And if you give me that reason, it will help me get employed in the future. I'm not looking for a job now. I don't think I'll be looking for a job. Yeah, I don't think so, because I'm not planning to stay in a job environment for a long time. So probably I'm in my last employment in my life. Probably that's the plan. But obviously, you need to reach there. I don't think there's anything wrong in people working, but I think you need to be effective on how you search for a job. But even if you don't get it, how you engage the employer or the potential employer, if particularly if they do invite you for an interview, I think that's the most important thing. But the key thing that I wanted to share was this lady was just applying randomly. This is what we saw. Why? Because there is no way you can apply for 10 jobs, uh, one after the other, with the same CV, and you think you are going to get a job. There's a skill involved in applying for a job. And I think that's where most people have a problem. After sitting on the other side, looking for a job, but also sitting on the other side where I interview people. There are three process of looking for a job. First of all, there's an application process. The second process is the potential employer to shortlist you for a job. In other words, we sit, we look at all the CVs. Now that process, most people they undermine it. It is the process that make you not to be called or to be called. The reason some of you say I apply but I never got called is because of the shortlisting process. Now, what the shortlisting does, it's a very straightforward process. We look at the advert, what the advert required. On the advert, you will see there's always what we call a minimum requirements. Those requirements, when we enter the meeting for the selection, the first thing that we do, we discuss the requirements. Because remember, I can be the one advertising a job. Then I invite a panel or a committee. Those people, they become now the selection committee. I invite them to be part of that selection process or shortlisting. The first part of the discussion that we're going to have, because some people might even be new, but they might be relevant for the position. They will want to know, are all these requirements prerequisite? How should we understand them as a panel so that we don't disadvantage people who have applied? And I will say, for example, honors in psychology or masters in psychology is a prerequisite. In other words, based on the advert. So if the advert said we want people with an honors in psychology, for example, or masters in psychology, or an HPCSA registered, or a degree in engineering, and you come with a diploma. The minute you don't have that minimum requirement, we want engineering degree, you come with a diploma, we put you aside. You have already been excluded, and we just tick a box. Excluded due to not meeting minimum requirements. We wanted a master's, we have got an honors, and you have applied. When you are applying by faith, oh, I believe. My pastor say, you know what, you must believe. That's when we get in there, people. We don't go with your pastor and say you must believe. We go there with the requirements of a job. We come in there, maybe at the sponsor shop somewhere, they might take you when you take chances. When you come to reputable companies, I'm talking about reputation, where companies that have got processes, where when you have in a committee, you will have the people who design the job, you will have a selection committee, you will have a union who will be there. Those are reputable things. I'm not talking about fly by night, Baba Mungomeni somewhere hiring you. I'm talking about proper things that happens out there. Why you are not being selected, why you are not being shortlisted, why you don't get a feedback. When you don't meet the minimum requirement, it's just a tick, excluded due to not meeting minimum requirements. And oftentimes, people who don't meet a shortlisting, who don't make it for the shortlisting, they're not being called or told. Because remember, it's a job application. 1,000 applications come, like your psychology selection. We can't tell 1,000 people that you're not being selected because you didn't meet the minimum requirements. We believe you should have known and not even applied and wasted our time. So some of the things we apply for them, but we don't understand that we might not even be shortlisted. We're just wasting ink energy. You need to make sure when you apply for a job that the first thing that you look at, do I meet the minimum requirements? There's nothing wrong in applying when you think you might meet them. The only area that you think you are lacking are not as critical. For example, the minimum requirements is, let's say, for example, it's an honors level. You have an honors and they want, let's say, knowledge of a particular system. You have something not exactly, but similar to it. So when we enter the panel, one of the things that we do, we ask questions about that. Let's say, for example, with an IT work, and they've written their experience with C plus, whatever. Now, what we do, we will ask if somebody has got something equivalent but not the same, because why? In computer science or in IT, there are many programs that can allow somebody to do the same functionality, but they don't call in they're not referred in the same way. We will discuss that, and if we agree, we'll agree on what other programs will we consider, being guided by the chair of that particular committee. So those are the things that you might get away with. The other one which oftentimes we can consider and become lenient, is the issue of experience. Most of the time, when the job is advertised, it will say 3 year experience in whatever, whatever. Now, and this is why government now is actually pursuing companies to stop requiring experience on graduate. Why? Because when the selection is done and we say 3 year experience is required and you don't have it, we exclude you due to limited experience. It's just a tick box. However, and I've seen this around, oftentimes you find that there is a consideration when we have got the qualification and when we have got the relevant experience, because the experience can be relevant but not sufficient. You have the experience, but it is not 3 years. Maybe it's 2 year, 8 months, 2 year, whatever. And I'm mentioning this because most of you think you are clever. When you look for a job, you find a person, he writes uh, working as a admin, whatever, whatever, and on the years he doesn't write the year, he just write 2020. Now 2020 has got January to December. How long did you work? Because when we want for experience, we want to calculate the month. We want to know you work from January to June. We want to know you work from June to December, 3 months or whatever. Why? Most of the time, I've sat on a panel where people get excluded just because they left the month out. How long did you work? Because we want experience and you left it out. You want to trick us that we invite you, then we're like, ah, no, sorry, I don't have the experience. So when we have situations like that, particularly if the CV is not that attractive, we just, you know what, this one is taking chances, exclude due to what? Insufficient information or not providing enough information. So when we've got too many people, we don't have time to be going into detail trying to figure out whether do you really have the experience or you don't have it. So make sure that you indicate the month that you have, because then should we want to consider you due to maybe 2 months lag in terms of experience, we might be guided by the committee, because sometimes you find, let's say nobody meet the requirements, we are the only one, or there are only 3 people. We might say, okay, but there's one with 2 months there and he seems to be knowledgeable and been working in the field. Let's just invite him to the interview. We will make a decision when he comes. So that information will be very critical. But if you exclude it, you don't give us much to work with. We don't have much to work with. And the other issue is the issue of the cover letter. Look, and I'm not saying cover letter are not important at all. You must listen to me carefully. In the interviews I've sat on, most of the time cover letters, we don't spend much time on them. Cover letters sometimes, the way I've been in the interviews I've been, when you just want a brief background, to refer to it as an individual, but we have never sat in the panel and say, let's read the cover letter. It has always been like a formality. That is why I've seen that most of the people don't always require it. But where it's required, maybe they might use it. But don't be so feel so compelled that you don't have a cover letter, your cover letter is not that good, it will disadvantage you. Most often your cover letter is not as critical as the experience and the CV. The cover letter is just a cover letter. It just provided, brief background. This is who I am, why I'm interested, and all of that. They might read it and refer to it, but don't be too hard on yourself due to lack of a comprehensive cover letter. However, I did a video. I think the video is titled Chat GPT. Check that video because I show you how to write a compelling cover letter using any job advert. Check the video about Chat GPT on the channel where I show you how to write a cover letter. Now, in terms of searching for jobs now, I think the other thing that I've done, which I think maybe might be important for you, I've put a link. When you check most of the video that I have on the channel, there's a link where I write, register your details if you want me to email you the jobs. Check that link and register your details, because usually what I do when I get jobs, like today, I bought Sunday Times to search for jobs, not because I'm looking for a job, just to share with people about the job that I come across and that I think are important. Register your details there. I will share. Today I bought the newspaper because of this particular session. I wanted to share some of the jobs that are there, but I couldn't find something interesting. Most of the jobs are very high level, and I just thought I might be wasting your time. What I've done, I've checked where the jobs exist at the moment, and what I've realized that is that you know universities, they've got a lot of jobs at the moment, and that is why when you go to that link, I ask you to indicate the level of study and your field, because I need to share jobs that are relevant to you. But what I've noticed that the universities have got a lot of jobs. So you firstly need to decide what niche area do you want to focus on. If you want jobs in higher education, what you have to do, firstly, search, go to all the universities. There are 26 in South Africa. Go to each one of them and their website. You will find at the bottom or at the top somewhere, it will write vacancies and search for jobs and what they have. Do this on, every bi-weekly, because they take time to advertise. Others they advertise weekly, others monthly. But on their website, you are going to get all the jobs that they don't even put on the newspaper. Not all the people put their jobs on the newspaper. So most of the time you depend on the website. So if you want to be in higher education, I will say the first start will be go to every university. When you are looking for a job, go to every university that exists and search for job there. The second thing is that you need to check all the colleges. I've realized that most people, they ignore colleges. Colleges have got jobs for administrators, clerks, gardeners, security. They've got a job for lecturers. So if you want an entry job, check all the colleges in South Africa. There are 50 public colleges that have got jobs. Today I was sharing with somebody as well about jobs at SMU. He has got jobs for a clerk, jobs for security persons. There are jobs in higher education. There are many jobs that are advertised on monthly basis. So you can decide. And one of the best things that you can do when you apply for a job, look for entry jobs. Don't go too high, because what you might need, particularly if you are not working at all, most of the time there's what we call internal posts. Internal posts are posts that are only advertised within the organization. For example, you are working for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola will release jobs that are within Coca-Cola. Only the employees of Coca-Cola can apply. So when you apply for jobs and you get an entry, it puts you inside the system. And every time jobs are advertised, you will target internal jobs. Internal jobs, they advertise them internally and see if there's no person who qualify before they go externally. So make sure that you go there and check and get an entry level job inside any organization that you want to be part of. Entry level job, most of the people, they say, okay, if I can get an entry level jobs, the money will be low. you know the issue of money, it's a very complex one. That is why I did a video where I speak about how your salary is determined. I beg you, watch that video about how your salary is determined. I was telling somebody that if I was not working at all and if I was not educated, I will take any admin work anyway. Because at the moment, an administrator, a secretary, those jobs are evergreen. Almost every company everywhere in the world, they will need a secretary or an administrator. But most of the time, people, they devalue those jobs. They see them as less important jobs. But interesting enough, majority of those people, administrators, secretaries, they earn more than highly educated people with a master's and PhDs. How does it happen? And that video where I speak about how your salary is determined, I explained it. Because why? You start today a job as an administrator. Let's say they start you at 100,000. What people don't understand is that every company in the world, reputable company, every year they've got what they call an annual increase for their employees. It's standard in most of the companies. They've got annual increase. I mean, obviously, government has got their own issues, but most companies they've got annual increase, which means if you get 100,000 this year, 2023, by next year, probably April or Jan, they might give you 3% increment of that particular salary. Now, that 3% increment adds into your salary. So every year, your salary increase. So if you are to work in that company for a certain number of years, your entry is not the same after 5 years. Now, the other thing that you do, if you move from that company to another, the new company that you are going to, it will have to beat the salary that you are on. In other words, they have to offer you more than what you have. And the increment will always be bigger than the annual increment that you get in your company. Let's say your company is giving you 3% annually. You go to a new company, they might say, we're going to give you 10% increment from where you are. And this is the plan. That is why there are what we call negotiations of salary. There's a video where I interviewed a lady who worked in HR. I'm encouraging you to watch that video. The video is called, I think it's called Job Application, HR Processes, and you will see there's a lot of CVs on it on the cover. I think it's blue and white or gray and white. Check that video where it speaks about job application, HR processes. It's on the channel where the lady explains the issue of how to negotiate for salary, how to negotiate for an increment, and other matters that has to do with application process. For example, what I just mentioned when I speak about make sure that you put the years, because sometimes when your CV is done electronically, the system automatically determine how many years you've been working. So if you have not put the years there, or you are not putting the accurate years, the system might reject you before you even get shortlisted because you don't meet the requirements. That is why it's very important that you put those particular information. So make sure that don't undermine entering into the job field with an entry, because why? Salary always increase. The other thing that I tell people is that if you are young, if you are young, stop marrying companies. Stop marrying companies. Go there, hey, loyal employee. If you are young people, move around. That's the only way your salary is going to increase. You start a job, they give you 20,000. If you are very young and effective and smart, that 20,000 can be 100,000 if you move. If you move, don't. A job is not marriage where you get there, you relax. Go there, gain experience, and move. And somebody might say, but how long should you stay? As long as you don't get another job. As long as don't get another job, you can get to actually a new company. The minute you arrive, you start applying. Because imagine this, and I've seen people do that, and maybe they're in a company where they don't pay them well and they move. Let's say, for example, you get a new job today and you've been applying. Chances are there within 3 months, they might give you another job. So if you are still enjoying where you are, you still take that offer, or they call you for an interview. Even though you are not planning to go, you go for the interview. They give you an offer. You take it back to where you are. You say, hey, when I was looking for this job, I applied for this one. Now they're offering me a position. Here's the money they're offering me. I love this place. I want to stay, but poverty is too much. What will you do? You know? And they will tell you, no, we want to beat it or go. If they say go, then go. You are not married. If they beat it good for you, then your salary increase. So the minute they do that, they beat it, they show that they've got value on you. Then you can say, okay, no, you know what, let me add another year or two with them. At least those people, they take you very serious. But the minute they say they don't beat it, just go. They don't value you. You're not important. If they are going to retrench, they'll start with you. You see? So don't marry your work. Always look after yourself, particularly from black people. Most of you making it in life, your family depends on you. You can't be staying there for peanuts for a long time just because of loyalty. Guys, loyalty will come. I'm telling you, loyalty will come. If you are just getting salary to pay for your debt, you are not living. You are not living. You need to start living, people. You can't live to pay debts. I'm telling you, it's not life. Or you just work, you are waiting to get a salary just to pay debts. No, it's not life. So you need to think about yourself. You need to start living. You need to start living. You need to start to, live, experience life out there, you know? So, T, you are asking, will this live be recorded? Yes, it will be on the channel. It will be on the channel. This is actually recorded already. So it will be on the channel. You just go to the channel, you go to live. That's where you are going to find it. When you go there, there will be a playlist, and then you go to live. That's where you are going to find it. So please, if you've got any question, put it on the comment section. I will be able to attend to it. Any question that you have, just put it there on the comment section. I will be attend to it. Like T put a question there, whether will this be recorded, and it will be recorded. It will be on the channel. So that's the part I'm talking about, because most of you are like, "Ish, that job, I will not mind, and I've done this before when I started. I mean, if I share my story of how I started, I will take any job, as long as, because I remember telling people, most companies don't look for people who are not working. If you're not working, I'm telling you, it might be difficult to get a job. People, because remember, if you're not working, you basically taking you is a huge risk, because we must teach you everything. But even if you are working somewhere, you are doing something, your mind is into work mode. You are already having some ethical principles that are involved in any employee. If you are at home, we must start you from afresh. It's very difficult. I don't want to lie to you, to get a job when you are not working at all. So make sure, I tell people, get any job that you can get, as long as your CV has got a current job you are doing at the moment. You might find it easier to get another job than a person on his CV. There's no job, just sitting at home. I mean, I can take a typical example. When you are a student, if you remember, if you are a student or you were a student before, your mind, the way it is in January, compared to the way your mind is in June, when you are in the midst of your studies, your mind is running every day. Your thinking is at a certain level. But January, you come there, you are tired, you are lazy to think and all that. You get into that mode when you're not waking. You are not in a waking mode. You still need to be taught to get into that professionalism. But a person waking, that is why in a job place, they always speak about hitting the ground running. They want people who are going to get a job and they start working. You show them a computer, no, no, I was doing this in my previous job, I'll be able to do that. Those things are very important. Even if they don't pay you, I will say get any job, as long as on your CV you have got a job, you know. And watch that video where I speak to the lady Ubakeng, who was in HR, where he speaks about what happens when you look for a job and they ask for a salary. I think that will help you, because most of you get caught up. I heard somebody asking me, they ask me my expectations. What should I say? That video, I deal with that part. What should you say when they ask you, how much do you expect? I mean, you have not been working. What do you say you're expecting? You just want the job here and let them give you, but you can't tell them that. But I think it's an important information. It's an important knowledge to have. So check that video where I speak to an HR specialist who share what to do when you are caught up in that particular situation where you are being asked, how much are you expecting from this particular job? Now, I spoke about now where to search for jobs if you want to be in higher education. Obviously, if you want to be in basic education, you go to basic education department, but also all other companies related to the basic education. And check this newspaper on weekly basis. The jobs that come in the Sunday Times are there a lot. But check that video where I speak about how to search for jobs in South Africa. I think that video will be very helpful. The other thing now is private companies. Private companies, if you're not on LinkedIn, it might be difficult to be searching all of them. But private companies are also helpful. You make sure you've got a profile on LinkedIn. And what do you have to do? You need to know where your niche area is. Where is your field of expertise or qualification? And those companies you need to target. Now, Targeting, I mean, you need to decide these companies, I know them, they look for these particular people. You start to apply in those particular companies. You search for jobs every day. What I used to do when I used to look for a job, or sometimes, you want to change, you want a better place, I will have a list of all the companies I have to check on monthly basis. You have to do that. Then the other part, the last part that you have to do is always make sure every job that you apply, you tailor make the CV. Every job, you tailor make your CV. You tailor edit your CV. Make sure your CV is edited for that particular job. You can't have a job where every time you get a job, you use the same CV. It can't work like that. Your CV should speak to that particular job. What I will do if I'm applying for a job, every time I get a job, I mean, if I show you my computer, I've got, I don't know how many CV. There are too many. There are too many. But the good thing is that the minute you get into this mode of tailor making your CVs, you have CVs that speaks to a particular job. I mean, I've been in higher education. If I'm looking for a job in lecturing, I will have a CV tailored for lecturing. Every time I'm applying for a lecturing, I've got a CV for that. If I want a job in psychology, I've got a CV that speaks to my psychology profession. If I want a job that speaks to research, I will have a CV tailored for research. If I want a job in corporate, I will alter my CV to have a corporate look in terms of experience. Even the way I write, my CV will have the job title and lessons learned from that particular job, which basically speak to an experience. I will tailor make those experiences to corporate, so that you are appealing to them. You are appealing to them. You speak their language, even the term that you put. Then what I will do when I see an advert, I will go to the advert and look where it says the competencies required from the person. I will make sure every competency that is listed there, it appears on my CV. Every competency that appear, I will find a way to edit my CV to make sure all of them appear there. You must find your advert in my CV. It's like answering an exam paper. You know, you must not make it difficult for somebody who marks to find the answer. I remember I used to have a teacher in mathematics. So you must explain to me like I don't know mathematics. When you write your CV for an advert, remember in the meeting, there are people who are clueless about the job. There are people who are clueless about the field, but they will be in the meeting shortlisting. So if you make it difficult for them, they can't think beyond the paper they've been given. They've only been given, here's the advert for the job, here the CV, colleagues, please help us make a shortlisting. So those people, the ignorant ones, if you don't make their life simple, they are not going to shortlist you. Because you, when you apply, you are thinking, they know. They know. If I write this, they know. Don't think like that. Not all the people who come to shortlisting, they know. Some people are just invited because they're available on that day. So your CV should speak to the advert. Make it very simple for them. And every time, whatever CV focus is, make sure from the word go when you mention what you are doing, your experience, mention the things that are on their advert. Don't make it don't make it too far from hidden from them. And most of the time people ask this question, do you start with your education background or do you start with your experience? I think the basic of it is that it depends what's the highlight of your life. So the job advert, the basic job advert, most of the time, it will have two requirements: the educational requirement and the experience requirement. Now, let's say, for example, the the educational, if they just want a higher certificate or a diploma in business management or HR, whatever, admin, whatever qualification. Experience, they want 5 years experience in something. If you have got 10 years or more of that experience, I will start with my job experience. Why? Because the highlight of my career. Because the diploma, I just have a diploma. I meet the requirements. There's nothing much to make about it. So always start with the one that is a highlight. So if your experience is a highlight, start with that. For example, imagine they want 3 years experience. You come then say, maybe you've got even a summary, 5 year experience in the field of HR. It's a highlight. So my job, I will put experience as number one. I will put jobs, and at the end I put education because education is not my highlight. So you can decide on your CV whether you start with education or whether you start with jobs, depending on which one is the highlight based on the advert. Like for me, I've got a PhD. PhD is the highest level of NQF in education. There's nothing beyond the PhD. You can't study beyond the PhD. The minute you are a doctor, that's the level, that's the highest. There's nothing above that. So if I'm applying for a job, particularly in high education, I will start with education. I will start with education because why? I already have a PhD, so I'm gonna put a PhD there. So when you get my CV, the first thing that you see, this person is a doctor. Like, hey, yeah, no, okay, fine, let's listen to him. Then you listen. I give you all the things I've done. Then you go to the experience. You realize, oh, he meet the requirements. Not only does he meet the requirement, he's also a doctor. He's reached the ceiling in terms of education. What more can you want? Are you with me? I hope you're with me. So those are the key things that you need to be aware of when you apply. Now, for government jobs, I will share with you. I hope you register on that email. I think by tomorrow, if not later today, I will share the job adverts for government. I will share the advert from SMU that I show UP. I saw some jobs. Obviously, it will depend on the areas of the people that I have on my database, the field of interest. I will share what I saw from SMU. I will share what I saw from UP and other places around. I search broadly when I search for a job. I don't only limit myself, but I encourage you that watch all the video that I've mentioned in this. There's another video which I've done with Ntla from UCT. He works in the career department. The video is written tips when looking for a job. Watch that video as well because he shares important sites that can help you get a job, can help you search for a job. So there are many ways, and I wanted to do this video because I know that we are going towards the end of the year, and I trust you me. If you don't get something by end of November, unfortunately, you are likely not to get anything in December because companies are closed by then. There's not much, so we need to make sure that during this last month. Why is this time important? It is important because most companies are trying to close up their books, finalize things. If they're going to employ you next year, January, they need to interview you by November, finalize and say you are starting in January. But everything must be finalized by end of November. So if you don't get something by then, it might be a bit difficult. So that is why I am doing this video. So I did this video because I wanted to help you. But the other thing that I want from you before you close, I want you to indicate whether in the chat section, comment section, I want to know whether will you like me to continue doing this on, because I was planning to actually do it on a weekly basis. Where on a weekly basis, I wanted to come here and you see today I wanted to share with you jobs. I can't find something interesting in here, so I can't even share. I wanted to share with you to say I'm seeing this in Sunday Times. I'm seeing this at universities, but I can't find anything interesting. That is why I don't want you to rely only on a newspaper. I want you to be broad in your search. Search the company. So I thought today I'll just share with you some of the tips. Next time I want to come and share based on the people that I have on my database. I will be sharing to say those who are in this field, this is what I see, this is where the adverts are, and this is where I think you need to look into and the requirements and how to tackle those particular jobs. So make sure in the comment section you let me know if this is something that we can do on weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. But I want to do it at least by 2024. It should be something that we really dedicate to so that people don't stay without being employed. I think the jobs are many that are getting advertised, but there's a lot of competition and you need to make sure that your CV stands out. Standing out, your CV standing out is not about you putting a picture. I've seen people with like nice pictures on the CV. It's about the content. What are the contents of your CV? What do you have? Is it written correctly? That does it speak to the application? So that's what I wanted to share with you, colleagues. I don't see any questions. So in the absence of questions, allow me to end it there. Thank you for those who joined, and many people I'm sure they're going to see this video late because I've actually informed them I'm going live late in the evening. I wasn't sure I'll make time, but I'm glad that you were able to make it, and share this video with as many people as possible. You'll be able to get this video on the channel. Just go there at the top after playlist. I think there's live. You'll find it there. It's job search session 1, and I'm hoping we're going to have as many of these videos as possible so that you get employed, you get placed, and we deal with any question that you have. If you've got questions about employment, salaries, and all of that, how do you tackle certain questions? You need to put those questions on this chat. When we talk, I'll be able to address them. Even if you put them when the video is ended, I will come back to the chat and address any question that you have. I want to answer. Most of the time, I think it's lack of knowledge, lack of information. That is why people not get employed. And people, when you go for an interview, please make sure that you go there to ace the interview. Don't go to the interview and you are not fully prepared. You rather be more prepared for an interview and not be selected than be underprepared and understand why you are not being shortlisted or selected. When you go for an interview, that interview can change your life for the good. Make sure you are thoroughly, thoroughly prepared. And I will deal with this in the future on how do you prepare for an interview. I know people who say, if you invite me for an interview, I will get the job. And that's the attitude that you need to have when you go for an interview. Friends, allow me to end here. Thank you for your time and continue living your life to the fullest. This is Dr. T, and I'm out. Thank you for your time. Enjoy.